Hello and welcome to Talking Good Game. It's just finished. Everton 1, West Ham United 0 at Goodison Park. We're here to discuss the highlights, I guess, as it says in the title of the video. Gonzo, can we just skip to half-time? There's no nil half-time, so we'll just skip ahead till then. What did you make of the opening 45?
It was... Well, I said in the preview, I didn't expect it to be in a build-up. Didn't expect it to be a pretty game. It was pretty. It was pretty ugly, and I thought we had lots of corners. I didn't think Fabianski had anything to do, but there were some worrying aspects to it, and particularly in terms of the amount of possession we allowed Everton to have. That was a concern, particularly given what we'd seen against Silkeborg, who we let them have the ball quite a lot as well. I think the biggest problem, as I say, we weren't overrun. I thought we defended so well that Fabianski had pretty much nothing to do. I was hoping the corners would come good at some point. I think the biggest problem I thought in that first half was that they were out battling us. I thought they'd turned it into a bit of a war. And probably with the exception of maybe Rice and... No, to be fair, the defenders, in particular Soufal and maybe Declan Rice, we didn't see an awful lot of other players who are fighting. And they seem to be really running through brick walls, the Everton team.
Yeah, I thought it was crap, Gonzo. I thought it was utter crap. I was genuinely angry at half-time at our performance in the first 45. Couldn't string two passes together. Half the team were playing crap. The other half were playing average at best. The tactics were woeful. I don't know what the plan was today. I have no idea what the game plan was. How did we intend to win that game? Usually there's an indication, there's a clue somewhere. I honestly felt like we were watching match day 36 in the Premier League and West Ham needed a point to survive relegation. It's match day 7 of the Premier League. I thought we were horrendous. I thought it was dreadful. I thought certain players were playing better for Everton than West Ham, despite running around in claret and blue, namely Soufal and Fornals. And I thought Soucek was anonymous as well. But I thought Soufal at right back was incredibly poor, and I thought Fornals was getting right out there turned by Nathan Patterson, and a large part of it was down to what you said. There was a bit of aggression almost, where there was a few times there was almost a 50-50 between them two, and he lost every single one of them. And Patterson was just stronger in the tackle. And then Paqueta was getting bullied a bit as well. He's taking far too long on the ball outside the 18-yarder and getting caught out. Fine, he's going to have to get used to the pace of the Premier League. Now, I can sort of take that on the chin as long as everything else is working. But when you're so devoid of any creativity whatsoever, and Paqueta gets the ball, you're almost desperate for him to do something. Go on then, because we need something. And he's getting caught out pretty easily. Well, I don't know, about 7 corners in the first half. A couple of them hit the first man. By and large, I thought the deliveries were average. There was nothing good. They weren't too bad. But we didn't win one of them. Their defence were hoovering up everything in that 18-yard. And what the defence wasn't getting, Begovic was getting. I know you're saying what you're saying. We defended well. Fabianski had a quiet game. Begovic, I thought, had a quiet 45 as well. We were dreadful in that first 45. And I felt, we were quite guilty. We were quite grumpy after winning on Thursday night against Silkeborg, weren't we? We both did sort of videos after without the emotion. We're still quite grumpy about it. That first 45 to me almost justified the grumpiness, because our sort of rule of thumb was play like that against a Premier League team. You won't get off with it. We won tonight. And then the first 45, I thought, well, here is the proof, because it's the only positive I had at half-time, Gonzo, was it was 0-0. That was it. I had no other positives. I was raging at halftime, and there was, well, actually, no subs at halftime. None.
No subs at halftime. That wasn't really the issue, to be fair. The more the issue was he didn't change anything tactically. I think that was the point. If there was a tactical plan, it would have been to keep it tight and keep it at 0-0. You wondered what it was. Maybe that was it. And okay, right, at what point are you going to show ambition? At what point are you going to stretch forward? Now, that can be any number of things, but it just stayed the same. And the trouble was, it's like we didn't understand the value of a nervous stadium. We allowed them to get comfortable. We allowed Everton to put their foot on the ball. We allowed them to pass it around, and then we allowed the crowd to sort of get a little bit back into it. I think what you had a couple of managers there. He toyed in the first half. Frank Lampard toyed with who should go up against Cresswell. It was a bit of Damari Gray, it was a bit of Gordon, it was, and he would sort of move it around a little bit. In the second half, he decided exactly what he was going to do. I don't think he made any changes, if I remember rightly. Lampard didn't make any changes either, but he switched things around. He had a little look at West Ham and he thought, actually, just stick Gray over there so you have more joy over that side. And we didn't do anything at all. But I think a lot of it was urgency. I was really worried about our lack of desire. We had a sort of woe is me demeanour and body language about our players, and almost we actually, funny enough, we looked sort of miserable and tired, and we looked like we've been scrapping at the bottom for years and years and years. And I think that's what worried me. We didn't come out of our tails up, and we didn't look like we had any belief that we were going to go and try and win the game. And I think my biggest frustration was that because of what Antonio again looked fit. Antonio looked fit, and I think there were glimpses where he looked like he was going to be able to carry the ball and carry it into danger and do something. And what did we do after that information? Well, nothing. We still don't get anybody close to him. And I think that I found that as frustrating as a substitution. In terms of substitutions, I could have made 4 at half time.
I was fuming there was no subs at half. I couldn't believe it. Honestly, I could not believe it. 3 or 4 players could have come off. And I thought, surely he's going to do something to change it, to give us a bit of an advantage. Bear in mind, there's some players on the bench that were in form coming into this game. It's not like we were choosing from players that isn't really up to it or anything like that. But he kept it the same. And that basically suggests, and I can't think of any other way to take this from Moyes, which is I'm happy at half-time. I'm okay with what I saw in the first half. I'm fine with 0-0, with creating very little, next to nothing in open play. This half-hour's performance, I'm okay with that. And we come out in the second half and we just continue to play the same way we did in the first half. And this one is on the manager again for me today. There's some players today were shocking, right? Soufal, I thought was poor, but he's been poor all season. The manager continues to select him. Do you want to know how bad it was at halftime for me, Gonzo? There was one sub in particular I wanted to see, and I'm not taking the piss, right? I went on the watch along at halftime with Charlie, and I said it to him at halftime. There was one sub in particular I wanted to see, and this sums up how poor we are at the minute. I genuinely wanted to see Soufal come off the pitch and Craig Dawson come on, because I thought we ain't creating fuck all for open play. The best chance is through a set piece. We're getting loads of corners. We've got nobody attacking them. I genuinely wanted to see Craig Dawson come onto the pitch, a centre-back to come onto the pitch to give us a goal-scoring threat, because at halftime I had absolutely no hope, no confidence that if we didn't bring Dawson on, we were going to go on and score. Now, unfortunately, I was correct. We came close on a couple of occasions through the substitutes, which we'll get on to. But we were shocking today. We were really, really bad. And, Everton, fair play to them. That's 5 games now unbeaten. They finally got their first win this season. But defensively, they have been pretty solid for the last few weeks now. And what did we do? You were right. We had glimpses in the first half. Antonio had a run at Tarkowski, tried to take him out. Advantage was played. He didn't quite get through the ball to Paqueta. Has a run at Cody, gets him in the boot. Then that's it. We stop. There's no more. What do? We keep on playing crosses in. Tarkowski is 2 of the strongest centre backs in the air in the Premier League, with a 6'7" goalkeeper in between them, and we're just putting in aimless crosses, and it's easy caught. Oh, that attitude from the players today was shocking. I've seen, against Chelsea, we got beat. I thought it was a spirited display at least. I thought we actually had a little bit, I say a bit of a go, but we were putting in the tackles, we're putting in a shift. There was none of that today. That was pathetic. Not just individual performances, but tactics, attitude, work rate, everything. Everton deserved that win, hands down. But, I mean, they made it 1-0 Gonzo after 53 minutes. Neil Maupay, and not going to lie, bit of a wonderful bit of striker play.
He really controlled it really quickly. Actually, it might actually reminded me like an Ian Wright goal. To be honest with you, just bang controlled shot away early. But some easy passing build-up play, which I thought was prevalent in the Silky Ball game. Actually, I felt we allowed teams to pass it easily between us, which is what I said there. There was something I did notice though, and I thought actually, Keira had a good game, but his initial instinct, if you watched that, was not to go towards the ball; it was to pull away. It was almost his first instinct was not to concede the handball. So he actually went backwards with his hands before he went forward with his leg. And could he have got it? I don't know. I do think it was a very good goal. I do think it was a very good goal, though. Very quick, took it really quickly. Took it like a like a better striker than he probably is. But we actually showed some urgency after that, and I think that's what frustrated me more than anything, really. I thought, at that point, we thought, oh, hold on, we better attack them now. And we didn't really show an awful lot of quality, but I didn't understand why we had to go behind to do that. I don't understand why we had to, because it's just always too little, too late. And I just wonder where the ambition is. It was a hard watch. It was a really, really ugly game to watch. And sometimes just make it easy for teams, don't you? They were desperate for a win, Everton. The crowd were ready to be nervous. West Ham fans were the loudest in that stadium at the start. Could hear West Ham fans singing what they thought about the Everton support, which allowed them to grow and grow and grow and grow in confidence, go in at half time, and then for them to come out and score that goal. But you know what? You know what the ridiculous thing is? It wasn't just them goal that grown confidence. By the end of it, but after 15, 20 minutes, Damari Gray's looking like Lionel Messi, but on the other side. Do you know what I mean? We've allowed.
Robbie was taking the piss out of us for the last 5-10 minutes. The guy was doing tricks and everything in the corner.
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic goal by Neil Maupay. He positions himself. There's almost a triangle of Rice, Kerr, and Zuma, and he goes right in the middle of it. He's got literally 2 touches to score that, otherwise he's closed down. I know they say it's a fantastic first touch, but I don't think he means to flick it up like that. But it's tight space to control it. He controls it, and it's a fantastic finish. It really is. I think it's just brilliant striker play. I know what you're saying about Kerr, but I don't think it's that simple, especially in this day and age, because if it strikes his arm, it's a penalty. He's got to get his arms in the right place. And later on, he did that challenge on Andre Gray inside the box. Great tackle, and it fell to Iwobi. And again, Kerr had to run out and put his arms behind his back first and foremost, because otherwise, if it hits your arm, they're looking to give pens. I think it's just fantastic striker play by Neil Maupay, unfortunately, which is something, a little bit of quality, which is what we did not possess in the game until we made some substitutions finally, reactive rather than proactive again. But never mind, we got some substitutions. Benrahma and Kone came on. Paqueta departed along with Pablo Finals, and we got a bit better. Benrahma hit the post. Kone went close, but not enough.
Well, not enough because he didn't sort out the 2 main issues with the team, which was we didn't have a midfield partnership, and the striker was isolated. So, it's exactly the same, actually, as we always see. So, yeah, great. It was, it was nice. Benrahma looks a bit more lively. Calder shot against the post, which looked good. Cornet looks good. And, in flashes, he's one of the few players that looks to get in behind the defence, which I think is good. But by this point, it's too little too late because the shape still doesn't massively change. And how you can have... I've always thought this about Moyes, which is I think he does... I know people would laugh and say, I understand what's coming my way when I'm going to say this sentence. I think he understands football. But I'm not sure he understands people incredibly well, because if you can't see how he managed to frustrate our new striker so early in his career, I don't know. That's what all that was about, Scamacca. He's frustrated. Scamacca wants to come on and win the game. Scamacca wants to impact that game. And all those fouls, and it was a foul, and so was the other one. Two fouls from Scamacca. No problem with saying he's fouled. But it was just pure frustration. That was someone saying, I want to help, I want to score a goal, but there's no one around me. I'm isolated. I can't do anything. It was... I think it annoyed me because, Fornals was incredibly bad. And it annoyed me that it took that long for it to be identified. But still the same thing. I just thought Souček was so terrible today. And in terms of somebody to sit next to Declan Rice, it just did not work, and it was obvious it didn't work, and it didn't allow us to get any control over that midfield at all. And the answer was the same as it has been all season. It is basically just change the personnel rather than rather than what we're doing. We didn't change what we were doing, and all that. You talk about the other game we won against Super Bowl because we had better players. We created the chances because Cornet was a bit more direct than Fornals. We created the chance with Ben Rama because, do you know what? He was a little bit more up to the pace, the English game, and could get his shot off, whereas Paqueta couldn't. But there was nothing tactical that meant we were going to get back into that game. And we all knew it. We all knew the same thing when we were waiting to see how much injury time was being held up. It was 5 minutes. We all knew it was going to be nigh on impossible to create anything. And I think that was the point. And the moment I saw Scamacca, and I thought, okay, what's he going to do? Then I saw that the who's coming off, it's Antonio. Right, okay, there you go. And that's it. He didn't fundamentally lead the two players that we had on the pitch that were isolated, which was Declan Rice and the centre forward. He didn't ultimately change that.
I say I couldn't believe it. I think that's the worst thing. I can't believe what I've just seen, because the warning signs have been there for a while. We've seen it this season. It's a continuation since flipping Christmas time, really. It's been going on for months now, which has been sort of papered over the cracks because of our Europa League form. But even if you look at that, we lost to Sevilla, beat Sevilla, drew against Lyon, beat Lyon, and then got beat twice. So in 6 knockout games, we only actually won 2 games. But it was a good. I think that's taken our attention away from our poor form in the league, but also our poor performances in the league as well. And again, like you said, changes personnel, but that wasn't necessarily the problem. It was the tactics. It was personnel too, but it should have been rectified. I mean, you got your starting 11 wrong. When we did the build-up show and the lineup came out, nobody was saying, "Oh, what a fantastic team, Moisey! Great team, got everything." Everybody was picking holes in it. And it was justified. The players people were picking out shouldn't be starting, justified why they shouldn't be starting. Cornet and Ben Rama come on, and we actually provided a bit of a threat because they should have been starting, because them two players should have been on the pitch from the start. I didn't see any intent for Moyes to win the game until Tarkowski was taking ages with a fucking free kick and he came on the pitch to put the ball back. Until then, I didn't even think Moyes wanted to win the game. I thought, at last, we've got something from our manager. And he was getting wound up. And I thought, fuck, you getting wound up for, mate? It's your fault that this is happening. Why are you getting stressed out? He's taking a piss with a free kick because your tactics are shite. Even the Paqueta sub, listen, Paqueta was crap today. Let's get that out there. But in the first half, he committed 2 fouls because he's covering for flipping Fornals. Fornals, who's on the pitch because of his defensive side, is getting bailed out by Paqueta covering his arse for his defensive side. But then you bring on Maxwell Cornet. What's Cornet good at? Running in behind defence. So what do? You take off the guy most likely to play Cornet in behind the Everton defence, and you leave on flipping Souček, who can't pass the ball. As soon as it went 1-0, we didn't need Souček on the pitch. I get why he started, and I still think, even though he's crap today, it was the right call at the start of the game. Souček was in decent form. He's a nick coming into this game. But at half-time, it wasn't working. He was being out-battled. He was being out-ran in midfield. He was struggling. Rice didn't have anyone to pass to next to him. I would have liked to have seen Souček off and Paqueta drop back, saying, right, you've got no space outside the 18-yarder. Let's get you back beside Rice so you've got loads of room. Let's get you on the ball and see what you can do. But he didn't. He took off the guy most likely to create something from open play statistically and brought on the guy that's most likely to make the run in open play. And it was just bonkers. You've got Ben Rama playing on the right-hand side, trying to cut in on his weak foot. Now, that was a great effort, hit the post, took a nick on the way. And then after that, he swaps them over. Hang on a minute. Cornet's having a pop at Nathan Anderson and getting a bit of success. So he swapped them over. For what purpose? For what reason? Scamacca getting a booking. I actually applauded that. Well, I didn't literally get up and clap it, but in my head, I applauded it because finally, a player with a bit of bollocks that wants to win this game, because I was not seeing that from everybody in the team. There's a guy pissed off that we're losing, pissed off that the tactics are crap, and he wasn't the only one. Declan Rice at one point looked like he wanted to knock Thomas Souček out in the middle of the park for that. The worst pass I've seen in 90 minutes. You saw Rice throwing his arms around saying, what are you doing? Fabianski distribution was crap again, but it's just everything was wrong today, and it all stems from one thing: the manager's tactics and the manager's team selection. And for 90 minutes, he did nothing to rectify it. He swapped personnel around, and the personnel that came onto the pitch were better than the ones that went off, but still wasn't enough to get anything out of the game. When you said about how the 5 minutes went up, flipping out, they put up 10 minutes, it would have been 2-0 Everton. It wasn't going to be 1-1. They were more likely to score. They were looking decent enough in the counter-attack, but I was fed up watching the Wolby do flipping step-overs in the corner and stuff like that. They took the piss. David Moyes just got his pants pulled down by Frank Lampard at Goodison Park for everybody to see. Lampard's probably in his office pissing himself, thinking, bloody hell, that was easy, weren't it? We created half a chance and scored it, and that's all we had to do. Muppet next to me was telling his players to keep sending in crosses to Tarkowski and Cody. Happy days, they'll have that every day of the week. It's just bonkers, honestly. I am fuming watching that game. Like, if he had tried something different and didn't work, if he put Scamacca and Antonio up front and it lost, a part of me would say, do you know something? Well done for doing that. It's still not good, but at least you've done something. But he didn't. He's done the same thing. What's that saying? An idiot does the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Well, that's what he is right now. He's an absolute idiot. Anyway. Individual performers, do you think?
Not really. No, I thought I was going to sound like I'm just picking out the check lads, really. I thought there was actually 2 passes from Souček which were equally bad. The two worst passes of the game. The 2 worst, but one of them was right at the start. In fact, it was It was actually the third thing I'd actually written down there.
Well, he got one intercepted. He tried. Zuma gave him it. He tried giving it back, and Maupay got it.
But it was a terrible pass. And then you had the one at the end, which sort of, I don't know, I think he was aiming for. I don't know. He was aiming for the corner flag or something like that. I don't know what was going on, but that was bad. He was a passenger. It was embarrassing, actually. Soufal, I thought. I don't know what to say. I mean, I've got a bit of a reputation for having a dig at right backs, but he can't control or pass the ball, and that's an issue. You know, it is an issue. That being said, I did think he was the most committed of our players in the first. I thought he was the one that initially that was up for the battle. So I thought he was wiping his own arse to an extent. Do you know what I mean? So he was recovering for his own mistakes a lot, but he was committed. He was up for it. There's not, his attitude's not in doubt. I don't know who you want to blame for now either, because he just shouldn't be there. I'm sick of seeing him on the left wing, sick of seeing him do that. And I suspected in the first half, I didn't know. I said about this Patterson, hold on a second, we're just going to invite them onto us by doing that because we don't provide a threat. I'd say the same thing that I've probably said 30 times before. He's not quick enough. He's not tricky enough to play on that wing. So he doesn't give you anything to worry about. So everyone just keeps on going this way rather than worrying about what Fornals is going to do. And I think the other thing is, one thing I'm pretty... it's the lack of pace in the team. And we've just had a spend up. And we've still got a lack of pace in the team. Now, there are some players on the bench who can rectify that. But we still look woefully slow, lacking in energy against them. I thought Bowen huffed and puffed. And I thought he got into positions, but he's still not clicking. He's still not getting, that final thing. He's a second behind. And I will talk about Paqueta, because I think you hit the nail on the head about up to pace in the Premier League. He's just not. That being said, he's got a bit of battle and a bit of fight about him. Again, he wants to try and win the ball back and wants to battle. I get that, but he's just not sharp and on it. But I have a real element of sympathy for him because he is not playing. If that's how we're going to play, how we play today, and to be fair, it is sort of how we play. We just haven't been particularly good at it. He doesn't suit our style. And funny enough, you look at Anand and you think, yeah, he would have suited. No wonder David Moyes went for him first. He sort of suits our style. Remind me of, I've said this a few times, of, when Canio first came in, I think he had a look around and people just weren't, he needed more footballers around him. And I look at Paqueta and think you probably need more footballers around him. He certainly cannot play in a midfield where you've got Declan Rice operating on his own because Souček's doing... I don't know. As I say, when that happens to Souček, he drops back and becomes an auxiliary centre-back. He wins some headers, he wins some interceptions, can't pass it, can't control the ball, but there's not a functioning midfield in there. And there is no point in having a player like Paqueta if you haven't got a functioning midfield, because you're going to need a supply line. And it just goes back to it. And I think if I have to say anything about today, supply line, wherever you think it was coming from, there was no supply line today. And that's a major issue. exactly the position we didn't want to be in going into an international break, and we're in it.
My individual performers, Gonzo, I'm going to ask you to give me 2 or 3 players, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. You can choose my players, all right? But while you're thinking,
Okay,
I don't know who to do, so I'll just let you pick.
Okay, all right then.
Thank you to Ryan.
Right.
He still fancies you.
Thank you,
Sorry
Ryan.
for the loss, but Gonzo's still hot. Thank you to Red Robin. Pesu check,
Thanks,
and
Robin.
he passes backwards, technically bad. Iron X, thank you for the £5. He says, sorry, hopes this helps, lads. And Bobby66 is a big supporter of the channel as well. Says, have a very strong cup, fellas.
Thanks,
right, have you got your
fellas.
players?
I'll pick a few out. Okay, I'll throw you a curveball. What about Aaron Cresswell today?
I thought he was all right. Honestly, I thought he was all right. I would have subbed him with maybe half an hour to go just to get Emerson on for a bit more pace, a bit more somebody running in behind. Because Anthony Gordon got booked. I mean, I think it was Gordon, although it was Patterson that had done the foul, but I think Gordon got the booking for it, right? And you're just thinking, well, come on then, let's keep going. We were getting a little bit of success down that side. And Cresswell was obviously part of that. But I would have liked to get Emerson on there just to get somebody running in behind and then pull Patterson away. If Kone or Ben Rama's out there standing up the right back, get Emerson on the overlap just to drag that right back away to give Ben Rama or Kone that yard and a half space to do something. Because them two came on. They were our 2 most enthusiastic players. But I thought Cresswell was all right defensively. Thought he was pretty switched on. A couple of times he was in awkward situations, and I thought he got out of them pretty well. I thought he was quite composed. Yeah, I thought he had a decent game.
Okay. What about? I'll give you 2 more. What about Bowen? Before I get to the one that you probably do want to talk about. What about Bowen?
I thought he looked all right in the second half. I thought he looked a lot brighter. I thought he was doing some nice 1-2s, working hard, getting stuck in. And I think I saw glimpses of the old Jared Bowen. But for the first hour of the game, I didn't see it. He got better when the subs were made. When the subs were made, I thought Jared Bowen perked up a little bit for whatever reason. Still not good enough, still not up there. But I felt sorry for him at one point. He had the ball. It was not long after we conceded. He had the ball on the right-hand side. He took it past someone, got into the 18-yarder, got his hair. Antonio was in there, marked by Tarkowski and Cody. There was nobody else in the 18-yarder outside. There was just nobody. And he sort of like tiptoed and tried to delay it as long. You can see him going, where is everyone? We're a goal down and there's just nobody up here. What is happening? So positive from Jared Bowen. But we can't afford to wait for him to get better. We can't afford to wait for the old Jared Bowen. We need old Jared Bowen now. Shouldn't have started. Probably should have got sub, but like I said, when the subs were made, I thought he improved a little bit.
Okay, I'll give you a choice. Fornals or Soufal? Pick your choice.
Fornals, dreadful. Absolutely flipping dreadful. In possession, crap. Out of possession, even worse. Was caught out of position. When he was in position, he was getting done by pace. Patterson is the most inexperienced player on the pitch. Ran rings around him, and this should be no surprise. Anyone that knows Patterson, I know you don't, and you've said I'm not too aware of him, but fine. And I know I'm a big fan, so I'm probably biased when I'm talking about Patterson here, but he's been doing that week in, week out in the Premier League. So for West Ham's team, whether it be Moyes or the coaches, to watch Everton and not say to David Moyes, you can't have Fornals against him because he's twice as quick, and he is a very aggressive attacker at Everton. Lampard lets him and Michaelenko, but especially Patterson, free rein down that right-hand side. When we get the ball, get up that pitch. Either your man comes with you or he leaves you, and if so, fine. You're in acres of space. His crosses, Patterson's crosses were average today. They were easy enough to defend against, but he was getting in loads of space. He had Fornals on absolute toast. Yet, now it does coincide with Everton going 1-0 up. We put Cornet up against him. Suddenly, Cornet pushes Patterson right back. Says, go on then. You go forward if you want, but I'll tell you what, you better get your arse back because I'm quicker than you. I'm better than you. I've got confidence. I've got my chest down. I'm going to run at you and take you on. Fornals, none of that. He gets the ball, goes backwards, ASAP, gives it, plays it safe. And after flipping time, the safe passes were getting intercepted. He was dreadful. He was lucky to make it to half time. I couldn't believe he came out for the second half. I could not believe. Well, actually could. I was disappointed he did, though, because it was almost like 2 fingers from Moyes to West Ham fans, which is, you want to win? No. I'm here for 0-0. And this is the problem when you're here for 0-0. If you got to go down, you're fucked. And we went to go down, and guess what? We had no answer. We had absolutely nothing. We didn't know what to do. Moyes didn't know what to do. So, yeah, there's my thoughts on Fornals. But I will say, just quickly, Kerr, good. Zuma, good. Centre-backs were good. But that's about it. Anything else you'd like to add?
Not really. Not at the moment. It's it's hard. It's a hard watch. It's not just a hard watch. It's hard to talk about it. You know what I mean? Because we're fuming as well, and that's there's so many basic errors which we thought were part of West Ham at the moment. We hoped they weren't. There's certainly been a lot of warning signs, but I think I sort of hoped the magnitude of the game would make Moyes do something different, would make Moyes desperate. I was looking for desperate Moyes today, which is why when we did, not the build-up, the preview, I went for a completely drastic and different team, right? Because I wanted to see something. You know what I mean? I wanted Moyes to think, hold on, I've spent a lot of money here. My job might be on the line. So I'm going to have to change things up. I'm going to do something. I'm going to have to do something differently. I can't go in against Everton with my same old tactics and my same old team. So I'm going to do it differently. And we didn't get that. But still halfway through the match or going through the match, I was still waiting for desperate Moyes to come in and say, right, I'm going to win this. I think that the worst thing was still at 1-0 down. He didn't seem desperate to win the game. And I think that is probably a bit of a hallmark of his management at West Ham, actually, is when you are a goal down, he still almost expects that other goal, we're going to score it. I guess it's from a corner or something like that. He hopes for it. Very rarely. I just can't ever see a circumstance where he would play Antonio and Scamacca as a front two. I just can't ever see it. And really, we were behind. He had nothing to lose. And that's the trouble. When we've got nothing to lose, David Moyes doesn't even seem to be aware that he's losing.
Yeah, I know what you're saying about going 1-0 down. I'm disappointed he didn't do it at 0-0 at half time. I'm really, really disappointed because the game was in the balance then. If we've gone on to win the game, it's like, all right, the first half was a bit crap, but we've got the result here because we've done something at half time. But we're talking about the result because he did nothing at half time. And like you said, I mean, it took him about a good 5 minutes after they scored to do something. That's not a manager with a game plan. If Pep Guardiola, maybe not all, but other managers would, if they went to go down, the subs would be on the pitch where they were even taking the restart. They're going, fuck, right, plan B. I've got my plan B. We know what we're doing. On we go. Get on there. Go do that kind of thing. But there was none of that. It was almost like they were warmed up, ready to come on for 5 minutes, and you generally felt that Moyes wasn't sure who he was taking off at this point. And he's like, well, I'm putting them two on, but what are you going to do with them? I'm not sure yet. Let me just have a think. Well, Fernandes is going to have to come off, possibly. Don't really want to take him off. It works hard off the ball, but going to need to get him off, and then someone else is going to have to come off. Can't be Bowen because he stays on no matter what, so he's staying on. What about Souček, Gaffer? Oh no, can't take Souček off because he might get in the box and head it at some point. So we're going to leave him on, but he's getting overrun, Gaffer. Oh, it doesn't matter, Kev, shut up. He might get in the opposition box and get a header at some point, so we're going to leave him on the pitch. But Declan's stuck on Kev, it don't matter because he might get in the box and get a header. Just fucking shut up. Paqueta, but he might create something. It doesn't matter, Kev, because he's not working hard, so I'm going to get him off the pitch. We're 1-0
I'm
down.
not even sure those conversations are happening.
Well, I'm
not even sure there is input there. I don't, because someone would have said something before now about certain things that keep cropping up in the team.
Anyway, before we go, massive thank you to you watching. Sean for the £2. Luke with his horrible statistic, 8 wins in 32 since the 1st of December, 37 points in 34 games. Before today, if you did points per games in the last 25 games, West Ham were in the bottom 3.
Yeah.
Arakane says, with that performance, we honestly couldn't have shit the bed any harder if we tried. Love the work you do on trying to keep up the great work. Taz wants to see myself and Gonzo as joint managers. And Jake says, and this is probably a fitting way of ending the video, this is Moyes we got the first time round. Anyway, myself and Gonzo leave it there. If you somehow enjoyed the review, please drop a like on it. Helps the channel out. Subscribe if you're new to Hamish Chat, and we'll catch you in a bit.